Hello everyone, back into today's second video. Going to have a look at the weather the next 10 to 14 days for today's second video. So day 10 will take us around the 6th of December and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with ECMWF and ECM ensembles. They run around a couple of weeks. Then I'll have a look at the Beige Climate Centre and the CFSB2 combined at the end of the video for the next 40 weeks to 40 days. I should get on with all of that very shortly. Just say that the European Outlook has been released, so that is the weather for next week, 10 days in detail across Europe. Have a look at that. We always do European Outlook on a Thursday, so have a look at that once you have done with this one. We did a massive, unbelievably big live stream last night, and so we got around 300 concurrent viewers, genuine, I think. So, yeah, it was an absolutely huge stream, the biggest stream that we've done so far. GavsWeatherVids, thank you so much, everybody, for making it such a special stream. The video is currently on over 300 likes, 300 thumbs up. So, yeah, that's what makes you think that we did actually genuinely hit a concurrent viewer of around sort of 300 at its peak. So, incredible. It was an incredible live stream. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be live streaming again tomorrow night after 10, and then on Sunday night or Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Now, GavsWeatherVids, I sent him a live stream that I was trying to explain inversions in this video. Do a little bit of an explanation about what an inversion is when it's milder aloft but colder down on the surface. I'm very late doing this video, though, so I'm not going to have time to do that in this video. We're just going to have to go through the data for the next week, 10 days, without going off on too many tangents. GavsWeatherVids.com website was down all morning, and this afternoon it's come back up, and I've been busy updating it, so that means that I'm very late doing this video. I will try to get an explanation about inversions into a future video. I'm going to shout out our latest channel member. We're putting on channel members all the time. Put on more channel members in the live stream yesterday. All of you will get shouted out. All the channel members will get shouted out in subsequent videos. I promise you, you will. We've also got a new patron as well, but I'm going to shout out, new patron. Thanks so much for doing that. But I'm going to say for today, for our channel member, thank you so much to Tassio Fancelli. Thank you so much to Tassio Fancelli. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So thank you so much, Tassio, for becoming a channel member for GavsWeatherVids. It's incredibly kind. Channel members, please remember that you are entitled to join a channel members live stream on the first Saturday of the month. So please remember that, everybody. If you're a channel member. So thank you to all of our channel members. Thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you all to all of our donors as well. We also thank you to all of our subscribers. We're on 8,270 subscribers right now. We are grinding our way to 9k subs. We are going to get there eventually. If you aren't yet subbed to the channel, please can you give us a sub. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And of course, special thank you to new channel member Tassio Fancelli. Thank you so much, Tassio. For that, right, let's move on into a video then. So you're going to start off Central England temperature. The CT is currently looking like this, provisional to yesterday, provisional to the 25th, I should say, of November. We're standing at 9.3, an anomaly of 2.6 degrees above average. That's going to come down over the next few days. You're going to have some cold days and even colder nights with widespread frost. So that's going to drop down into the 8s. So I'm not sure whereabouts in the 8s it will be, but it will finish up somewhere in the 8 Celsius range. I would think maybe around 8.5, something like that. Could be a little bit up, could be a little bit below that. It's certainly going to be a very, very mild November, even with like frost and fog at the moment. This November is going to be significantly and substantially milder than average. But things have turned colder now and will continue to be pretty chilly as we move into the early part of December as well. So these are the 500 millibar high daily flow charts of Penn State University for the next week, 10 days. It takes us to around the 6th of December. We've got the ECMWF on the top. The GFS down here is on the bottom. I'll have a look at that in a moment. 500 millibars. 85 feet is now in absolute high pressure, low pressure. Being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. You can see that with the ECM, look at this, got a big trough of low pressure, more or less part right over top of the country. It is combined with northern blocking as well. We've got a mid-Atlantic ridge going up to Greenland, and there's a Scandinavian. Oh, you would look at that and think we're cold, but somehow or other, somehow or other, we're still quite mild with that, actually. Can you believe it? With the jet stream doing something probably a little bit like that. We're just, way that trough and the blocks are lined up, just keeps the wind somehow or other into the, like, the southwest or the south. Really. But obviously it will only take a very slight adjustment, and, just a really slight adjustment, and we'd either start pulling in cold winds from the north or cold winds from the east, or maybe a combination of the two, which would be kind of like a northeasterly wind. But anyway, it's blocked, we are seeing a southerly tracking jet stream there. But it just goes to show you how all the stars have to align for us to get cold weather. Everything has to come together just perfectly for us to be able to get cold weather. And even with very substantial amounts of northern blocking, such as we have there, we can sometimes find ourselves, still on the mild side of the blocks and the trough. The GFS looks a little bit better for cold, I have to say. So, again, we've got the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is going up towards Greenland. There is also a Scandinavian high over here. The trough of low pressure is further southwards, going to cut off over Spain. And so the jet stream doing something a little bit like that. I think that does place us on the cold side of the jet stream. And we would either be pulling in quite cold air from the north or pulling in quite cold air from the east, or maybe a combination of the two. So I think out of the two models, the GFS today is the colder of the two. These are the 500 millibar height only flow charts. No, but not. These are the GFS upper air temperature precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. I've only been doing this since 2012. You can't expect me to remember the running order after so short a time, can you? No, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average. It's been a very long day today with the website going down, I have to say. This for Birmingham. At the moment, we're around to slightly below average. Over the weekend and into next week, the upper air temperature is going slightly above average, but that is under high pressure. And that's what I want to explain about in terms of inversions. So, just because it's got a mild upper air temperature, you're under high pressure in the middle of winter, it will still usually, often anyway, be cold on the surface via an inversion, which basically just means the heat is radiating out into space under the high pressure with very long nights and that sort of thing. So that's like an inversion. Upper air temperatures go milder, but it will be cold with frost and fog on the surface. And then we move through the first week of December, this period here into the second week of December, we're seeing those upper air temperatures dropping and potentially becoming quite cold. Some of these ensemble members down here are going to really quite impressively cold levels, going down to around -8 at 850 HPA. Later on towards a very extended range of the GFS ensembles here, a lot of scatter. We've got milder ensemble members up here, we've got colder ensemble members down there. So yeah, by the time we get through to running up towards the middle of December, we've got a lot of scatter creeping in. A lot of dry weather coming up as well, as has been the case through most of November so far. So there is some precipitation, obviously, because of the time of year. You can expect some precipitation. Got a little bit there, for example, around the 28th to 29th of November. But generally, like the next week to possibly 10 days, looking pretty dry. A little bit more unsettled as we go further on into December, but even then, for the time of year, that's a relatively dry ensemble graph, really. Temperature anomalies from the 26th of November to 4th of December, a little bit below average, especially so for England and Wales, slightly above average for Scotland. It's not a particularly big deviation either way, anywhere though, so very close to average, really. Precipitation anomalies from the 26th of November to 4th of December are drier than normal. Here's today's latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net, showing that high pressure is dominating, got high pressure over country and across much of Europe as well. Low pressure is up here. That's where the jet stream is. That's where the mild west-southwesterly winds are as well, being kept away from us in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. We're under high pressure. The air is generally drifting in from like a southeast or easterly direction, and it's just going to get colder under that area of high pressure, particularly so at night with frost and fog. The gruesome twosome. The gruesome twosome of frost and fog. Right, okay, a terrible twosome, I suppose. I don't know. Right, so this is how the UK Met is looking for Sunday, with high pressure over the country and ridging up towards Scandinavia, putting in a gentle easterly wind there. And I think we're going to have frost and fog, as I say, gruesome twosome coming up over the weekend. Into Monday, I'm already getting giddy, and it's not even Friday yet. Into Monday, we've got high pressure still over top of the country, bringing lots of dry, fine, but probably quite cold conditions. The high pressure then pulls out just to our west. We start to turn wind into like a northwesterly on Tuesday, so that could bring showers to northern and eastern parts of the country, but west and the southwest should be mostly dry. And then we get through to Wednesday. It looks like it's beginning to turn a little bit more unsettled on Wednesday. This is Wednesday 2nd of December. We've got a deep area of low pressure winding up around Iceland, bringing in a weather front from the Atlantic as well. That could bring a band of rain with it. Behind that, we might start pulling some colder air from the north. Notice this ridge is beginning to push northwards, so if the trough below goes in that direction, we may start to pull down some cold winds from the northwest. But it's all speculation, because that is as far as we can get to with the UK Met. Let's see what GFS 6Z is showing. So again, on Sunday, high pressure is ridging through the country and going up to Scandinavia. Winds are coming in from a gentle, sort of easterly direction. I imagine it'll be cold. There is a risk of frost and fog. Early next week, high pressure dominates, especially for England and Wales, keeping the frost and fog risk going there. Taking a little bit milder and more unsettled for Scotland and for Northern Ireland. High pressure still has an influence on England and Wales on Wednesday. More frost and fog possible. Again, cloud, wind and rain coming into western parts of Scotland. Then we have this diving area of low pressure. Been cropping up in model output a lot lately. So low pressure starts to dive southwards. So that's where the low pressure is on Wednesday around Iceland, where it should be. That's where the low pressure should be at this time of year. Remember, the default setup in winter is low pressure around Iceland, high pressure through the Azores, and west-southwesterly winds across the North Atlantic into Northern Europe. That is why we have generally mild winters in the UK, and our prevailing wind direction is southwesterly most of the time. This is doing something different though. So we have got low pressure over Iceland on Wednesday the 2nd of December, but then that low pressure starts to decouple from Iceland and move southwards. That's always an interesting thing for low pressure to do, because, as I say, the default setup is to have low pressure on Iceland. So if low pressure pushes away from Iceland and moves southwards, and high pressure pushes northwards to take its place, then this tells us that the atmosphere is behaving abnormally. So we go through to the end of next week. That low pressure is moving down towards Spain and Portugal. Remember, that's below but should be over Iceland, so for Spain, which means we're pulling in winds from an easterly direction now as we go into the first weekend of December. So this is Saturday, the 5th of December. Winds are coming in from the east. And, yeah, we're pulling in the -5 Celsius isotherm there from the east. That could be bringing in snow showers to eastern parts of the country by the first weekend of December. It's a fairly modest east. It's not a particularly cold easterly. It's certainly not a beast from the east. But, you know, it doesn't have to be severely cold to get a wintry feel and to get a wintry flavour. And I think that probably would bring in at least wintry showers, maybe even snow showers from the east. So as we move up to day 10, again, that's how we're looking. Generally quite cold. We've got a bit of a ridge of high pressure over Scandinavia. The wind is generally coming in from an easterly direction. So, yes, I mean, you would expect to have more wintry showers at the very least across the eastern part of the country. The -5 Celsius isotherm there is pushing through across England and Wales. We go through beyond day 10, so still got Scandinavian high, still bringing in wind from an easterly direction. We're having a go at bringing a weather system in from off the Atlantic as well, just here. Of course, that's coming into quite cold air and it has pretty cold air behind it, actually. So that's the kind of scenario that can give you like a little bit of snow. So that's how the upper air temperatures look on Monday the 7th of December. We are still within the -5 Celsius ice zone. This yellow area just here is what we call a warm sector. So if you can imagine, with this low pressure, we're going to have a warm front just there, and then we'll have a cold front just there. Sorry, in that direction. Anyway, behind the cold front, the air goes colder. Ahead of the warm front, the air is cold. But in this warm zone just here, in warm sector, it will usually only rain. However, what can sometimes happen is that the warm sector sort of gets squeezed out. And that's what this GFS run is showing happening. So this is Tuesday, the 8th of December, as that low pressure comes in from the northwest. There's a bit of a stall going on as it runs into the cold air. That's indicated by the elongation in the isobars there. And with the upper air temperatures, look how that yellow area is just being squeezed southwards. So the warm front is kind of occluding. The cold front is sort of catching up the warm front as the warm front is stalling, moving into the cold air. It's a kind of scenario that can sometimes produce a snow event. It probably won't because it's very early on in the winter, but if it's another month on, then that could be a bit of a snow event there, and it may even produce a little bit of snow anyway. We wouldn't know until much closer to the time frame because it's a long way out, but that's the kind of thing we look for, to have like a transitional snow event. Then we go into extended range and we start to pull in milder air from the west eventually. So we're up to the end of the GFS run, which takes us to 12th of December today. And we're looking milder with winds in from a west or southwesterly direction. That's a long way out though, of course. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, mainly dry, cold, frosty conditions over weekend into the early part of next week. Through the middle of next week, this low pressure again diving southwards, turning wind into like a southeasterly, and then eventually into an easterly. It looks pretty cold. That again could be cold enough to bring some wintry showers into eastern parts of the country. It is a very unusual scenario, by the way, to be seeing low pressure kind of diving southwards. Like that. Look where the low pressure is. I mean, look where the low pressure is around Wednesday, again south of Greenland, where its typical position will be. By the time we get through to Saturday, the low pressure has gone south into Spain, and this is all sort of negative AO, NAO stuff. It's unusual, it's abnormal, and it's interesting. Very, very interesting synoptically. Even if we don't get any snow from it immediately, it is a very, very interesting synoptic scenario, and probably more interesting, as I said in yesterday's live stream, and I'll put a community poll up about this, I think. I'll put a poll up on the community page. I think the charts at the moment are more interesting than they have been, than they were at any point last winter, and we are not yet even into official meteorological winter yet. This is how the ECMWF is looking again, mainly dry, cold and frosty on Sunday through to Monday. Again, high pressure dominates you to middle of next week, then later next week this low pressure starts to dive southwards. Now, unlike the other two models, the ECM does not get this low pressure down to Spain. Instead, it winds up into a very, very significant storm across Ireland and western parts of the UK for Saturday the 5th of December. Look at that. I mean, that would be stormy winds, severe gales and torrential rain, probably snow mixed in as well. But the low pressure is not going down to Spain, as the other two models are showing. And so that, of course, is a milder solution, because it is dragging up the air from the south rather than pulling in easy winds. We just keep that low pressure sort of sitting more or less over top of the Republic of Ireland as we get through into day 10. Notice it does have northern blocking. It has got high pressure up here. There's high pressure in Scandinavia as well, but somehow or other, this low pressure just does not go southwards enough to allow us to start pulling in those easterly winds. Nevertheless, it's it's a very interesting scenario. This is rainfall forecast based on that ECM run from Tameteo.com. So let's just run through these charts. There's going to be a lot of dry weather around in the next few days. Little bits of rain coming and going, not much. Going to be quite a bit of dry weather until we get through to like the middle of next week anyway. And then of course it starts to turn more unsettled. Some snow is involved across northern parts of the country. with that area of low pressure. It does actually suggest snow from Scotland down to northern England, heavy rain elsewhere. And then, of course, we have that low pressure webbing itself up. Look at that low. Very, very major storm, going for a big snow event across the Republic of Ireland, by the way, and heavy rain for the United Kingdom. But I wouldn't take that too seriously. It's a strange scenario today from the ECM. And I think the more likely scenario is what the GFS and the GEM are showing, which is low pressure going down to Spain and raising the heights to the north of the low. These are the options on the table in the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Gets us to the 6th of December. We have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with a mid-Atlantic ridge combined with northern blocking. Low pressure to our south. We're probably going to be pulling in quite cold easterly winds with that. 14, again, have the mid-Atlantic ridge and northern blocking, but the low pressure sort of parked over the top of the country with that one. Does include the control and the operational run. So that's very unsettled, of course. It's hardly mild, but it's not as cold as like this solution where we are actually opening the door to the easy wind. Then we've also got 7 just here with low pressure over to our south, a mid-Atlantic ridge, again pulling in winds from a northwesterly direction. 6 with mid-Atlantic ridge combined with northern blocking, low pressure to our south, again that could be pulling in like a southeasterly flow. 5 with high pressure to our west, probably pulling in a north to maybe northeasterly wind, and 4 with deep low pressure over top of the country. There is a mid-Atlantic ridge going up to northern blocking, but that one's going to be pulling in sort of northwesterly winds. A lot of solutions, a lot of scenarios that are on the table there from the ECM ensembles, but most of them seem to involve some degree of blocking and potentially cold weather anyway. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This will get us to the 11th of December. We have 21 members of the ECM ensembles again with a mid-Atlantic ridge, probably sending the jet stream and the flow on a northwest-southeast trajectory. 18 with a mid-Atlantic ridge going up to a northern blocking around Greenland, low pressure to our east-south. That could be wintry. I think that's a wintry scenario. It could well be pulling in the winds from the northeast there. So snow would not be impossible with that scenario. And then 12 just here have high pressure to the north and the northwest of the country. Low pressure is to our south and winds are in from an easterly direction. With that one, very, very interesting options and scenarios that are on the table there. Right, okay, let's just have a look at the Beijing Climate Centre. Then have a look at SFSV2, and then we'll wrap things up. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week periods. Into 10-day periods, sorry. First 10-day period will take us from the 26th of November to the 5th of December with above average heights out to our west. Below average heights to the north, winds are in from a westerly direction. Go through the next 10-day period, the 6th through to the 12th, the 6th to the 15th of December, with high pressure right over top of the country. That could be mainly dry, but probably quite cold and frosty. Next 10-day period is going to be from the 16th to Christmas Day. Wow. With high pressure to our south. Low pressure to the north. It looks like bringing a flat westerly flow. I have to say, I'm not at all sure about these charts whatsoever. Because, I mean, there's far more northern blocking within the shorter range model output than these charts are suggesting. The next 10-day period, the last 10-day period, is the 26th of December to the 4th of January, with, again, high pressure to our southwest, low pressure to our northwest, winds in from the west. But just going back to this, I mean, this is the scenario. This is the 500 millibar height only for the next 10 days, 26th of November to the 6th of December. And I mean, there's a little bit of a northwest-southeast alignment, but basically it's like high pressure there, low pressure there, and looking pretty flat. That looks pretty flat, doesn't it? Particularly if you compare it to like the options on the table within the ECM ensembles for day 10, which is the 6th of December. Look at those with all of that, all of the red with to our north and west within the North Atlantic and also going up into the northern latitude. So I'm not at all sure about the Beijing Climate Centre at the moment. It looks far too flat to me, that. So that's why I thought it includes CFSV2 as well. These are 500 millibar heights, break it down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 26th of November to 2nd of December. The coming week, this looks more like it, doesn't it? The coming week has above average heights over slightly to the north of the country and opening the door to some easterly influences. Not a beach from the east, but opening the door to some colder air to the east. Low pressure cut off around Spain and Portugal. Based on the shorter range model output, that looks much more like it, doesn't it? Compared to what the Bayesian Climate Centre is showing. This is week 2, which is the 3rd to the 9th of December. Again, with a bit of Scandinavian high, a mid-Atlantic ridge as well, up towards Greenland. Low pressure down across Spain and Portugal. That's quite unsettled, probably quite cold as well, so there could be a mixture of either rain or snow, and with that would depend exactly how cold the air is, but it's certainly a blocked and sort of unusual type pattern. Week 3 is going to be the 10th to the 16th of December. Low pressure around France and around Greenland. High pressure in the middle of the North Atlantic and over towards Scandinavia. So just looks quite cool and unsettled with that one probably. And then week 4, very interesting. This is the 17th to 23rd of December, running up towards Christmas. It looks like we're beginning to develop something of a monster Scandinavian / Siberian high, which is gonna, if it came off, I mean it's 4 weeks away, but if it came off, it would have a really good go at turning wind into the east just in time for Christmas. Easterly winds and snow for Christmas. Who would be up for that? Right, so just have a look at the temperature anomalies. So this is a week 1 temperature anomaly from the CFSV2 for the 26th November, 2nd of December. Cold average week coming up, particularly so for England and Wales. Week 2, which is the 3rd to the 9th of December, is also colder than average. Week 3 is the 10th to the 16th of December, just a little bit milder in that week. But week 4, with that big high pressure developing over Scandinavia, back into Russia, going slightly colder than average there from the 17th to the 23rd of December. Could be set up a beastly easterly for Christmas. We shall see. Right, so if you enjoy this video, you're enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, please can you click like. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids and subscribe too. If everyone who subscribes brings a friend, then we're going to get to 9k and eventually 10k subs so much quicker. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, okay, so that's it. Bit of an extended one today. Wow, there's a lot to talk about though, wasn't there? Hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to be back tomorrow with an epic day of content. We've got JMA Friday coming up. We've got a 10 to 14 day update coming up. We'll have the ECMWF 42 dayer coming up. There should be a Christmas update tomorrow. Whether I'll be able to get it in, I don't know. And there'll be live streaming from or after 10 o'clock tomorrow evening with our pub run live stream. GFS 18Z. So I shall see you tomorrow for all of the updates. But for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.